right, I'm going to take the lead on Tedertainment Tonight. Tonight, a little bit of a weirder review. I don't know if we ever had a video game review.
Oh,
So it's been a month. I played college football at 25 for the last month. I felt like that was enough runway to really get a proper review. Listen, I don't want to say it, but it was a dead giveaway. I got this game. I remember back in the day on Christmas, like you would get a game on PS4 or PS3. It would take all day to download. It would be like a 200 plus gigabyte file, all day to download. You're lucky to play it by Christmas night. I got this game, and it was the day it came out. I was so excited for it. I was like, man, hey, whatever. I'm probably not gonna be able to play until probably tomorrow, but I just got to get it. Plug it in, fire up the PS5. Within 30 seconds, this game downloads. 29 gigabyte file. Listen, I think 29 gigabytes, like there's iPhone games that are more than 29 gigabytes. And I just dropped basically $80 on this damn game, plus the system. So let me get into the actual game. The gameplay is fun. I do like actually playing the game. In the actual game is great. But what you need to understand with college football video games, what's made them good, it's everything outside of the online games. It's the dynasty. It's the road to glory. It's all that type of stuff. In this game that they've waited 10 years to release, in Road to Glory, which I never played that game mode, they got rid of the high school aspect of it where you're playing high school games for Corona High School or whoever, which was an awesome little touch. They got rid of it. In Dynasty, which I play, it's like the most superficial, it's a mirage, this game. When I first played this game for first 2 days, I was like, man, I can't stop thinking about it. It's the most fun I've ever had playing video games. Then I got over the initial buzz, and I realized this game is like, there's nothing to it. It's Groundhog Day every day with what you do in this dynasty. Recruit for 5 minutes, play your game, win by 50, recruit for 5 minutes, play your game, win by 50, recruit for 5 minutes, play your game, win by 50. There's really nothing else to it. So I'm essentially already bored with this game. Football season hasn't even come around yet. I've waited my entire, basically adult life for this game to come out, and it just is, it's flat. Oh, and the worst part, you know how awesome I said the gameplay was and playing people is so much fun? I have yet to be able to complete a game that it hasn't booted me from because the servers are so bad. Seriously, I can't play a game. I can't play a game. So I do this whole online dynasty with my buddies. You build up these user matchups. Both teams are undefeated. You play first quarter, and it boots you. You can't even play the games. This 29 gigabyte game, which is so basically shallow as it is, they can't even get it right. They can't even make it so you can play it. So it's just been a big bummer the more and more I thought about it. And listen, everything in my brain wants to like this game, but it's just not good. For example, if you would have sold this game on opening day when I opened it up, and let's just say it said Madden on the front of it and not college football, I would have probably snapped the disc in two, maybe even smashed it with a hammer. It was such a bad game. But just because it has the college football on it and you get to play with Michigan and Michigan State, win the Paul Bunyan Trophy, I kind of looked over it. But after a month, it's clear. This game is a fraud. It was a bust. It was a bust. I'm willing to say that.
I've seen some similar reviews. I feel like a lot of people are saying that the gameplay, because you love college football so much, because you want to play as New Mexico State, and try and win a national title with some school like that, or play with Michigan and do that. Right. It's a great game because you get to play at the big house. Now the names are in the game and all that kind of stuff. So it is cool. And the thing that always made them the best, at least in my opinion, sounds like you too, Jared, when I played, was the online dynasty, because you would set it up with your buddies and you would get to play. You could set it up if you had people across the country, or, you could play in a dynasty with friends or family or whoever, wherever they're at, and play in the same season, recruit against each other, set up games, like you said, against each other. And if that whole process is a little bit of a dud or not even working correctly,
it's not.
It kind of makes it a little bit, of a bummer. Because that was the best part. That's what I was looking forward to if I ended up getting it, hooking up with a couple buddies who have it too and saying, hey, let's start an online dynasty and let's play like we're back in 2014 again or whatever. But I'm not rushing out to get it because the reviews are kind of split down the middle. Great game when you're playing it. Everything else, just all right. Probably also because I don't have a PS5 yet, so I'd have to go out and buy a PS5 and the game. So it's a little bit like, I don't know.
I knew I was in for trouble. The second I fired it up, it downloaded in the blink of an eye. I had never seen anything like that. I'd never seen anything like that. It normally will take, like, I remember Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh yeah,
that took like 2 days to download.
right.
It just is. There's like 10 college football video games lodged into a Red Dead Redemption download.
Right.
And they had 10 years to make the game. What were they spending that time on? That's what I don't understand. On the trailer and the tweet about that it's coming out. Stay tuned. I don't know if they spent actually any time developing the game.
Wow. A scathing review.
Do you have any thoughts? Like, what do you know what a gigabyte is?
You asking me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been able to follow along. Yes.
Okay. It is, and there is some cool stuff to it, man. I mean, like, you play at Central Michigan and you get to hear them chanting "Fire up chips" and all that sort of stuff. Like, it's that is an games great. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna. It's an interesting way to look at it. The download speed, because if you're looking at one of these games, whether it's Grand Theft Auto, the Red Dead Redemption, some other games, when you put them in, it takes hours. Like sometimes you get up early, 5 a.m., pop it in, because then you're like, this is going to take 12 hours to download. So I'm just going to get it going. So it's good. The graphics are going to be good. The gameplay is going to be amazing. Everything is going to be incredible. So when you pop in college football and it downloads like that, it's not just that the technology was amazing. It's also that, man, you didn't really put a whole lot into this game, did you? So it's disappointing for sure. So again, kind of like your guys' reviews of House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones, all these shows that have dud final episodes. I'm not rushing out to buy this game now.
don't lump House of the Dragon in with this. This game, House of the Dragon, they care, and they care. Maybe they don't make the right decisions all the time with the storyline. This was, I don't want to say a money grab, but I mean,
might have been.
There is so many like egregious errors in the game that it's like, did anybody like give this a second look, or did you guys just slap it together and sell it as quickly as you could? Again, we spent enough time on the video game sector. Maybe the only time we'll ever give a video game review, but other people probably love it. And there is some fun parts to the game, but they had a high bar to reach, and they had 10 years to make basically a little bit better version of Madden, and I'm not sure they even accomplished that. So just a little bit of a bummer.
Fair comment. Now, who's the company that owns it? Is it EA Sports? Is that what it is?
EA Sports. Yep.
Well, after this review, there's certainly not going to be a 3 Point podcast sponsor. That's for sure.
No, God, no.
No,
you don't want them as a sponsor. I don't care what money. Listen, you don't want it.
Fair enough. I agree. We can't get behind a product like that.
Can't get behind a product like that because, of course, all of our sponsors, it's top notch what they offer. So,
dude, I could not talk for a minute a pod about this game in positive, glowing reviews. I couldn't do it. So, sorry that if that did cut off some sponsorship ops, but it ain't happening, man.
That's okay with me.
No,
how about you, Matt? What do you got on the table?
Yeah, something I watched. I watched it last night, actually. I'm not sure. Well, you've been on the road, Ted, so you probably haven't seen this. The E60 on Armando Galarraga's Imperfect Game.
Can't wait to watch it, but yeah, lay it out there.
I mean, you know the story. I don't want to give you too many spoilers because really, I don't want to spoil it for you. It's
right.
We've said it before. HBO stuff, whether it's Hard Knocks, whether it's all the shows that you guys watch that I don't watch, whether it's 30 for 30, this stuff. If it's an E60. Yeah. And it's a topic that you're interested in, it's going to be great. Best thing about E60 also, usually it's only like an hour, it's kind of like a 45-minute or hour episode. And it's always very investigative. I mean, it's just top notch. Anything E60, it's like you say, Jared, season tickets, pop it on. You're going to be entertained. And I can't say anything less about this one. It was called 28 Outs, the Imperfect Story. So yeah, about Armando Galarraga's Imperfect Game. We all know about it. Jim Joyce blew the call. Armando Galarraga should be in there, having thrown a perfect game. We don't need to dive into that, but this isn't just like, let's relive that day. You do get to relive that day. So that's kind of cool to go back and, go step by step, hear Mario and Rod calling the game, see Comerica, Brandon Inge is in it. Austin Jackson is in it. Ramon Santiago is in it. Justin Verlander, Max Scherzer are in it. They're all Jim Leland is in it. So, you get to hear all their perspective on that game.
Love it.
And just kind of like, if you're a baseball nerd, I mean, Ted, this is like right up your alley. You should watch this immediately because, they talk about the flow. Alex Avila, who was catching that game, so the catcher-pitcher relationship, they're talking about how he was calling the game. Armando Galarrag obviously was in it. He was a huge part of it. He's talking about how he felt going into that game. So just all of that stuff about the baseball game is so cool and interesting to hear. But the other side of what this E60 is makes it like even more interesting because, again, I don't want to spoil it too much, but what was it? It was a law and society class at Monmouth University actually like did a breakdown of it, a law look at why Armando Galarrag, why the MLB should put him on the list as having a perfect game, because they've gone back and changed other, like the George Brett situation where he got called up for pine tar. They ended up reversing that. I didn't know about this one. Maybe you did, Ted, but Harvey Haddix.
Yeah, 13th perfect game.
Right. He was in the record book for throwing a perfect game because he threw a perfect game for 9 innings. He ended up losing the game. I thought it was the 12th inning. It might have been the 13th inning, but yeah. But they ended up going back and taking him off of the perfect game list because he didn't win the game. He didn't complete the game.
Right.
So the whole point of this class, and I won't say too much, it's so interesting what they do. They go back and say like the precedent, like why the MLB has set the precedent that they can go back and reverse these things. How is Armando Galarrag not on? Jim Joyce is in it too. Jim Joyce is in it. So he talks about everything he went through. He says he should be on it. Everything. It is so good. And especially as a Tigers fan, but I can't recommend it high enough.
About how long?
Easy 3
About
out
how
of 3.
long is it?
48 minutes.
About how
45
long
minutes.
is it, Matt? Oh,
yeah.
Nice. Okay, I thought it was maybe just a short, like 10-minute.
No.
My initial thoughts on it, I haven't seen it yet. I'm actually going to watch it right after we record this. I forgot that it was out. So it sounds like an awesome class. My first thought when I saw that, I was like, this is the type of shit they make you pay $5,000 at a college, like for your education, is a class on Armando Galarrag's perfect game. But it actually does sound kind of cool. And like the teacher maybe was actually like a good teacher, and how he kind of took whatever the class was and like, let's actually make like a sports case study that a lot of the kids probably appreciated.
Yeah.
But where are you guys at with this story? Do you think is this going to be like the OJ, where it's like there almost seems to be a new, Armando Galarrag like piece of content every few years? It almost seems like.
Well,
did it reveal any new information to you, Matt, or did you feel like it was kind of just like a retread almost?
I mean, it was a retread. The big thing was the law class looking into that the MLB should be able to do this. And basically it's Bud Selig made the decision in the moment that they weren't going to reverse it. And now, Manfred, the current commissioner, is basically just saying Selig made the decision. We're not. It's kind of cool because they do talk to a ton of other players from the Indians. They were playing the Indians, now the Guardians, obviously, in that game. And it's kind of split. It's kind of split. A lot of people said, no, they shouldn't reverse it because that was the rule at the time. There was no instant replay at the time. So it is what it is. Jim Joyce obviously is saying, no, give the kid the perfect game. Like, I blew this call. I'm admitting, so it's kind of split. Jim Leland, honestly, he said, no, it shouldn't be reversed.
I'm kind of, that's my belief too. I don't think it should be. Yeah. It is what it is at this point. This is obviously obvious. I feel like both those guys, even Jim Joyce is basically almost benefited from this event happening. Armando Galarrag, he's got a documentary E60 about him now. I don't think that happens just with a perfect game, which is crazy because perfect games are awesome. Maybe it still would. The one villain who I think is kind of the unsung villain in that whole story, and it never is talked about, the guy who hit that final ball and is sprinting down first base line like it's the bottom of the 9th inning in the World Series Game 7. I cannot stand that guy. Why are you running out that out? It wasn't like it was a liner that they made a miraculous. It was like a little soft ground ball. This guy's running like the wind, and it makes it a tough call on Jim Joyce. In my opinion, I don't care if it's a divisional game or whatever. It's a random game. You hit a shitty little drubber off the end of your bat, trot down first base line, make sure they get that out. I mean, what are we kidding? Is that just me, or what do you guys think?
Yeah, that's a terrible take. That's a terrible take. I mean, when you're the opposing team, you're trying to break up that no-hitter, that perfect
No.
game. You're
not in that
absolutely.
fashion. Not in that fashion. That's not how you break it up.
Absolutely. You're nuts. You're
It's
crazy.
the integrity of the game, Jared. You can't do that. You know, and actually that guy is in the documentary too, talking about it. Jason Donald.
And Jim Joyce calls him out or calls him safe. And the guy immediately is like, oh shoot. Like, damn it. Why I wish he didn't do that. He knew it. He was like, what the F am I doing? What am I doing? Again, I'm probably alone in that. I get the whole baseball purity, but who are we kidding? Seriously? Just trot it out, man.
Wow. That's that one I cannot get behind at all. I will say this. I'm on board 100% of, you know, the rules were the rules at the time. You can't give him a perfect game, but it's a standalone. It's a standalone 28 out perfect game. I think he has that place in history locked up, and it's not a bad spot to be. You know, right. If it was a perfect game, yeah, it'll be in the record books that he threw a perfect game, but he'd be mixed in there with whatever 20 or 30 other players that have done it. It wouldn't be a big deal that it is now for right. Galarrag. You know, it's just a cool thing. I do have one question, maybe without ruining it. Leland did come out to argue, and it wasn't very long argument. Did Joyce, and this typically happens with umpires when they blow calls. I don't know if he says it in here. Did Joyce just flat out say, hey, Jim, I blew it. I can't overturn it now? Was there anything along those lines?
There was. So I don't know if I want to blow it for you. I don't want to like give it away.
That's my thought process, that Joyce told Leland, hey, Jim, look, I blew the call, but there's nothing I don't know if he did. That's just my
I don't think Leland came out too hot because he didn't know for sure whether he got it right or wrong. Okay. I think it was actually, and I haven't seen it, and don't comment yes or no, Matt, to spoil it, but I thought it was Gerald Laird was like the bullpen or was the backup catcher, right. Saw it in the clubhouse, saw the replay, ran out and said, like, you fucked that up. And that's when it kind of got crazy.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to blow too much for you. So I'll say it's super interesting how it all played out. So can't recommend it high enough.
We'll definitely check it out. Jared, on a side note with Leland, I haven't seen the special, but you were part of the special that was put out about Leland and Cooperstown, weren't you, with Bally Sports?
Yeah, so it aired on Friday night for the first time. I just saw they tweeted out a bunch of different times it's going to be airing. I've been basically in the Leland foxhole for like a month working on everything about that guy. And there's nobody I'd rather do that for. We talked all about him 2 pods ago, how much I love him as a manager. Going through his whole archival deep dive of all of his rants in the locker room, all the times he's been ejected, going after umpires. It was kind of cool seeing some of that footage, and putting it together was fun too. So yes.
Great. Can't wait to watch that one. I just got one thing here on Tedertainment. It's kind of a Tedertainment flashback. This week is 55-year anniversary of Woodstock, and I'm that boomer here on the podcast. Woodstock was the ultimate concert back in 1969 in upstate New York. But for Tedertainment Tonight, I don't know if either one of you guys ever saw the classic documentary on Woodstock, but if you haven't, I highly recommend you get a chance to just spend some time watching it and give me your thoughts somewhere down the line, because the documentarians covered it perfectly. It definitely took you back in time to 1969 and what it was really like with groups like Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, all the other classic rock groups that were there and participated. It was well worth the Academy Award it won for Best Documentary that year. And you know how I like my docs, but celebrating 55 years, 3 thumbs up for Woodstock, the movie.
Where can you watch that right now?
I'm not sure what streaming service, but I'm sure if you Google it, you can find it somewhere. Yeah. But I watched it on Turner Classic. It was on Turner Classic before I saw it. Yeah.
Was that a big deal in the time, Woodstock? Or how old were you at that time?
I was, 16. I was like 13 years old. Yeah.
Do you remember it being like, man, goddamn, I can't believe I missed out on that.
Yeah. I was a little too young, obviously, right. But it was headline news. It was on the CBS News. The whole big story was so many people getting to Woodstock. I mean, it was like, I don't remember, 300,000 or 400,000 young people congregating, tying up all the roads getting there. Right. It was supposed to be a paid concert, and I think it was like, there are ticket stubs out there where it's like $10 for the whole 3-day festival, and knocked down the fences, and it became free. It was a free for all. But the cool thing about that one compared to 99, the one in 69 was totally peaceful. With so many people, but there was no shenanigans, and it was just pulled off. The people that put it on didn't make any money, obviously, but it was an epic, iconic get together, and was really one of those historical moments in the world of history that will never happen again. I mean, it was just really unbelievable what they pulled together.
Because then the one in 99, I have watched a documentary on the one in 99, because again, I was about 13 when that one happened. I was like 14, 15. So similar with you, obviously very too young to go, but I remember all the bands that were there and hearing about it on MTV and seeing clips of it and all that kind of stuff. But it got out of control. I mean, obviously there were drugs at the original Woodstock, but it was mostly peaceful. The one in 99, I mean, it just turned into a lot of fights, the alcohol, and just everything. It got out of control. Yeah. And I feel like even some of the bands even said like they didn't feel safe. They just didn't feel safe at the one in 99. So it's kind of a shame.
It was evil. Evil was present in 99. There's really no other way to describe it. It doesn't help when you got like Slipknot enticing the crowd. Like those, I don't know what it was at 69. What was like Jimi Hendrix, was Bob Marley there? Maybe I have no idea. But then you got Slipknot and these other 1990s grunge bands. It's going to be a little bit of an atmosphere for those 3 days.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad I wasn't there in 99. I wish I'd have been there in 69, but oh well. The documentary is there for you guys to watch.